The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Welcome to The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldu. We got a great week for you here in terms of the show and topics. But first, we got to get to our guests. Greg Buchanan, voice of the CPCA, your radio announcer there, as well as the Junior B Bandits general manager. How are you today?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Got it right this time.
Got it right, actually.
Like the first time in like a month.
Oh, hey, it hasn't been that long, guys. Let's be honest. I think
This is
twice.
once, and we kind of throw it on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Must I bear this cross, guys?
Unfortunately, you picked the wrong day to do it with the Bobcats.
Well, I was going to say, you know what? You're looking quite bright today,
Yes.
too, as well.
You didn't get the memo?
Oh, I'm wearing something, that's for sure. But I'm saying that is quite bright.
That's out
honest.
there, yeah.
And it's nice and very complimentary to this guy to your left, Matt Choumont, New Cap Sports, man. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me back on here. Looking forward to having some fun on this
I
show.
thought you were your LA Kings jersey.
You know, I thought I would,
Go with the
but
black and silver?
yeah, I don't know. It's just I'm very superstitious, and every time I wear it, they lose, so can't wear it.
So that'd be a memo to the LA Kings or any LA Kings fans. Make sure that Matt Choumont doesn't wear anything of the LA Kings colors. Hey, but you know what we're going to start off with is the Memorial Cup. And first 4 days, some great action. Surprisingly, the Saskatoon Blades, after having 51 days off, losing a close, hard-fought game against the London Knights, coming back the next day, taking on the Halifax Mooseheads. Now, a lot of people, including myself, thought it would be close, but I'd give Halifax the edge if you look at what they did against Portland the night before. But the Blades came out, had a very strong game. Andrei Makarov was great between the pipes, and you had great play from Marty Stransky. We got to talk about this guy and the team as well. Were you guys surprised at all in terms of their performance? And was Stransky a guy who's kind of elevated himself to as a legit scoring threat and maybe getting off that schneid he has been on for a while now?
Yeah, well, some say, like yourself, would have been a close game, but someone, I forget who it was, kind of predicted exactly who was going to win and what the score was going to be. Who was that, Moses?
I believe it was you, but it must have been some kind of fluke.
No,
I say it's remarkable, though.
But how they played, they were playing desperate hockey. They had to win that game, and the way they did it with the home crowd behind them getting amped up with those clappers, that place was loud. After Matt Stransky scored that goal coming out of the box, I tweeted, that was the loudest I've ever heard that place when he scored that goal. I've been going to Blades games since I was 5 years old, so 20 years, and when he put the puck in the net and that place just rose and exploded, that was one of the greatest moments in CUC history, I believe.
You look at it, they're doing it just by hard work. They're nothing fancy at all. Halifax is a very skilled hockey team, and you're going to have to fight for every little thing you get against them. And, hats off to Mulligan for getting his guys buying into the system right now.
A couple of guys throughout the games have kind of improved their draft stock, and you have a couple guys who've maybe dropped down. Is there any that you maybe would pick from either end? Maybe Jonathan Drouin, the way he's played the first two games, it's been all right, but nothing spectacular, unlike Nate McKinnon.
Yeah, I was going to say, one player that I noticed was Max Domi. Even though he's pretty short in stature, he's very quick, he's very speedy. His hands are unbelievable. His vision is great. Kind of reminds me of Brandon Gallagher and what he did with Montreal this year. I can see what he had him ranked at 19, I believe Domi was. He's a top 10 player. He's got to be drafted in the top 10. And one player who actually surprised me was, like you said, Jonathan Drouin. Watching him twice, his back checking, non-existent. His shift lengths are over a minute and a half. He actually kind of surprised me. I don't think he's all what he is.
Yeah, and I think he got criticized at the World Juniors for that too, where he was a defensive liability at times. And unfortunately, on that Canadian junior team, there was a lot of players who were defensive liabilities. And the criticism for him that he hasn't have a two-way game. And if you're great offensively, sometimes that lack of defense can kind of overload that. But he's not doing anything right now.
Rafi Torres getting to the San Jose Sharks and LA Kings series. Of course, it's 2-1 for LA. Rafi Torres getting suspended after his hit to Jarrett Stoll. Suspended for the remainder of the series. Does that make any sense to you guys at all? Or did the NHL maybe get this one right?
The initial hit as a Kings fan, I thought it was just going to be a penalty and that was it, because when Stoll got hit, he popped right back up. Yep. So I thought, you know, maybe a roughing penalty, something like that, and that's it. But when he didn't return for the third, I think that's when the NHL kind of started, what are we going to do with this situation? But the weird thing is they didn't really decide until they heard what was wrong with Stoll and how long he's going to be out. So suspending him for the length of it, or who knows how long it is kind of far-fetched. You should really put a number on how long he's going to be suspended.
Give him a game or something.
Yeah.
You know what, and it's because of what he's done in the past. Who's kidding who? If it was any other player that would have hit Stoll, probably nothing at all. But because it's Torres, he's got a history. Look what he did last year's playoffs. He was out for a long time for that time. You got to expect that, likely you're going to happen in the game.
Going into this one in the NHL playoffs, minus, of course, the Chicago Blackhawks, who were tied at 1, now down 1.
Yeah.
Out of the 4 teams that are actually down in their series, which one do you think is likely to come back and win it?
You would think Chicago, but the way the Red Wings are playing, maybe not. If you had to take a series, maybe the Boston Rangers. Well, I'm not going to say San Jose because forget about that. They're not going to beat my Kings. But maybe New York. They already did it once against Washington. Maybe they have the best chance of taking advantage of home ice once again and getting some momentum.
Yeah, I still like Chicago. I think Chicago's going to come back. They look like a very frustrated hockey club right now. A lot of things aren't clicking. You see them talking to each other on the bench and yelling at each other on the bench. When you see that, what happens with Chicago, so many things came easy for them during the regular season. Come playoffs, all of a sudden, they're getting pushed. They're not doing exactly what they were doing in the regular season, so they're getting frustrated. But I see Chicago comes out with one solid game, and all of a sudden, all that they got during the regular season comes back.
Do you
and
maybe switch?
Also on that series, it kind of seems like Jonathan Toews is a little bit rattled now.
Yep.
I think Sederberg's starting to get underneath his
Do you
skin.
switch Crawford for Emery, or do you think Crawford's still
I don't think it has anything to goaltending. I don't think so. I think it's your leaders have to be your leaders, and as soon as they kind of step up, Kane had a horrible game yesterday, but you know that he's not going to have too many games like that in a row.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about the delay of game rule that's been troubling for some teams in this postseason. Stay tuned.